Hey, welcome to today's video. When I was a teenager, I'd gone through three phases in my life. I'd like to explain to you about that. One is the phase where I'd gone through the phase of show-offs, where I was talking a lot. I was in front of presentation without knowing what I was talking. My teachers was complaining that Eldo is speaking, but his meaning is going on. So actually my intention during that time was to just to speak, just to get the applause, just to be a leader in front of my peer groups. And that is something that I had done for a longer period without knowing what the core is. Because when I was talking, I thought that people are actually appreciating. But it was just a 10% show off that I was showcasing during my life as a teenager. And often teenagers today have that particular tendency, like they wanted to show off in front of the others without knowing what they may actually been doing. They think that it's actually a great applause when they are showing off through their words. When the peer groups claps, they think that it's a greater thing that they have done in their life. But second one is that through the line of academician, like being into academics, I thought that academics is one of the best line that can be molded into a greater leadership. But I was wrong, and I was just copy pasting what my friends who was very good in academics was doing. I was going to them and asking like, how many hours do you study after the classes? How many hours do you take to do the homeworks? At what time you go for a recreation activity, like an outdoor activity like plays? And how you spend the time with the family? And without knowing what are the do's and the don'ts, I was just blindly copy pasting it. And that was academics line, and I thought that spending that much number of hours in my academics can contribute to me as a greater student in academics. I was just copy pasting that without knowing what my talents are, without knowing what my actual purpose is. So when I was doing that particular thing, I was getting into a feeling that I've been into a mediocre. Like I'm not able to adjust that particular schedules. I'm like during my study time or the study hours that they dedicated, when I was dedicating the same, I was so often feeling sleepy. But I was for my parents' sake or for my friends' sake, I was actually doing it. And I thought that show-offs are not going to pay any rewards, but academics can pay it off. But later I recognized, as I moved through my academic line by following the schedules, I realized that it doesn't have any meaning. Of course, I'll be getting pass mark or above average marks, but it doesn't have any actual meaning in what I've been actually be doing. Then I discovered the third phase, which is actually good for every teenager. And this is the phase in which I can call it as a crossroad. We're taking 50% of being a show-off and 50% of being in academics. Because when I was doing my show-off 100%, I was not knowing whether it was benefiting. But on the other hand, when I taken my third line of 50% being into show-offs and 50% into academics, I felt it very easy that people are actually getting the things that they wanted through my speakings, through my academic lines, and actually I was telling the core to the people. And that is how today's teenagers needs to be molded. Teenager needs to be into the trap of being a greater students or a greater role models for the other teenagers or the juniors that comes in front, by taking 50% of their time for show off and 50% of the time or the efforts into the academics, so that they have an equal blend. They have a presence and they are doing the academics too of what they have been going to talk. And that is how the real teenagers needs to be molded for the future. And if you wanted to know what are the three secrets or how you can make your teenager being into a crossroads, like taking 50% into academics and 50% into the show-offs, there is a link below for my free masterclass for the parents. And it's a 60 minutes live free webinar. Just come and attend and get the results and apply it for your teenagers. Wishing you and your teenager the best for the future endeavors. Thank you.